Most homeowners don't even know how they get their hot water, and I'm gonna show you how a water heater works. And this is actually the best scenario to explain how a hot water heater works, because most people would always be like, "Hey, when do I need a tankless? Do I need a tankless?" I should. One of the biggest things is this thing was built in 1998, and this thing is almost about to be 30 years old. I already gave a quote to replace it. It was denied, but this thing is gonna blow up any second. Just looking at it might blow it up. And I'll tell you a little secret about the water heater issues. Back then, they would last this long, but don't. Anything from my experience, from my personal experience from installing water heaters, I seen new water heaters fail within 1 year, depending on what brand you buy. There's some brand that probably people know to stay away from, and you know why LG doesn't make water heaters no more? My personal opinion is because they made them too well. This thing is 30 fucking years old. And I haven't seen, I don't even know to this day if LG still makes water heaters, but that's quality right there. And don't expect your next water heater to last that long. And like I said, this thing is not like code compliant at all. But they back then, when they used to make stuff, they made stuff to last. And now they don't make stuff to last because they want you to buy a new water heater. So expect the average water heater, from my experience, 6 to 8 years now, if you buy a new one. And if you take the proper stuff, like put in an expansion tank, because if you don't put in an expansion tank on this bad boy, then that's when people are like, "Oh, my old water heater was fine. Why the fuck do I need an expansion tank? With my old other water heater that was built in 1998, it's still working fine." And then it's because the manufacturers make stuff that's not quality. And I got off topic, but that's one of those things that's super rare, because I gave a quote to replace it tonight. So let's see, going back to the topic, why I wouldn't even recommend. And the bid was denied on a tank. And in this situation, I would never recommend a tankless. And here's why. This house is literally like 50 feet by 20 feet wide. It's so small. So what happens is, also you got the best connection, because this is our PRV right here. This is literally the best way to explain how a plumbing system works. Right now we're actually working in the house, so the water is off. That also needs to be changed. That also needs to be changed. All of that was given a quote, denied. So the way it works is your water goes in here, and this is the cold side right there. Your cold, boom. And then it tees off and feeds this side. And this little magic device, then with gas, it heats up your water heater, turns on, heats, thinking of boiling hot water, and it heats up the water. And then next thing you know, when you open a faucet, it becomes hot. So in this situation, I wouldn't never recommend a tankless water heater, because you're gonna waste your money. Because this house is so small that you get instant hot water. And this house is so small that you don't even need a recirc pump. And what a recirc pump is, it's a little pump that will be recirculating the hot water, so you will get on demand hot water. So this customer would never complain about their water heater. Number one, they had a water heater that was built good. Number two, their house is so small that you would never run out of hot water, theoretically, because you only have one shower. Unless everyone decides to run every faucet, you technically will run out of all this water, and then you have to wait for the water to heat up again. But this house is so small, it's almost impossible for you to run. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but this house, you can't fit more than 4 people. I mean, you could, but most people won't. So you have to drain all this water to get hot water. So I don't know if you guys had this problem where all your brothers, all your cousins, all your family decide to take a hot shower before you, and you're the last one. You don't have hot water. That would be the situation when you want a tankless water heater, because most people think of tankless, they think instant hot water. That's not the case. It's on demand. So on this one, when you spend all your 40 gallons of water, it has to heat up again. On a tankless, you technically could run that hot water forever. But like I said, this is like I would never recommend a tankless. I know the upsells and stuff is better over here, but then we'll go downstairs, down. Like this is also the most perfect job, literally, because there's a huge access point or a cross space where I could go in there and show you. So literally, like I mentioned, the whole house wide is 40. It's 20 feet this way, 20 feet this way, and then 50 feet that way. That's literally the whole house, one story. So when someone, the tub, they're putting in the tub right now. So when someone turns on the tub, the hot water has to travel through all the pipes. You see, you got your cold and your hot pipes, and it has to go. It only has to travel around 20 feet of pipe before it gets hot. Before it gets all hot over here, it only needs to travel 20 feet of pipe. So on this customer, they will never have a problem with getting hot water, because by the time they turn it on and all that water gets pushed out, it's hot already. So they might have to wait around maybe like 20 seconds for hot water. Where it becomes an issue is when people have nicer houses, bigger houses. They have all. Also, you got to keep in mind, I could do the fixture count here because it's so small for hot water. We literally have the kitchen right here. We have a laundry over there, and we have a sink and a tub and shower. So we're talking about 4 fixtures that only need hot water. So this house, like I said, I would never recommend a tankless unless they have 20 people living here. Then I would be like, yo, you need a tankless water heater. But in this situation, I would never recommend a tankless. And that's how your hot water system works. It literally just goes from your main, travels through the hot on the tank, it goes down, and it travels through all these little pipes, and then gets to your location. And like I said, this area is not a problem because it's so small. And like I said, I give a quote to replace the hot water, and they're like, nah, it's working fine. And like I said, don't expect your new water heater to last 30 years, because it won't. Trust me, I could guarantee, I could put money on it that it's gonna fail. There's certain brands that we install that I know last around 10 plus years. But what I seen from what's going on, like I seen some models fail within like a couple months, and I stay away from those models because of that. So I know the models that, well, for example, if you hear a manufacturer say it's gonna last, like that one said 9-year warranty, it's probably gonna last you 10 years, and at year 10, it's gonna fail. And if you don't do the proper stuff, like putting an expansion tank nowadays, these bad boys were built great, but nowadays if you don't do that, I would see it'll cut it half. So it'll probably last you 5 years. So on these older models, I would never recommend installing a tankless because they were built different. But now on these new models, I would install a tankless because from my experience, I have seen them fail. It's just stuff is not made how it used to be. Like, look at all this plastic we install. Like I said, if I like copper, this was made it. You can see the copper; it's still good. But like I said, if we bid on copper, we wouldn't get the job. So nowadays, plumbing is just getting cheaper, and I'm not gonna. It's kind of hard to say because I let everyone know the facts, and guess what? They still and be like, "Oh, let's go with PEX." And I'm like, "All right, whatever." Like, it's not gonna last as long. We should install copper, but like I said, everyone has a budget. So basically, that's how your hot water system works.